In this video we are taking a look at this, the Garmin Forerunner 955. What is up everybody, and welcome to Garmin HQ here at 40 Runs. We are talking running watches today, people. Now, a bit of a spoiler if you're new to this channel. Our running watch reviews aren't the most techie, detaily, geeky sort of thing, right? I look at watches in terms of functionality, what they're like for the everyday runner. Are they overpriced? Are they correctly priced? Is there stuff on there we can use? Is there stuff on there we can't use, right? We will go through the stats and features, but it'll be more of a general overview. And then I'll give you my opinion on whether it's worth paying the money to get this watch or not. So if you're looking for like a really techie, detailed review, there are better channels out there, to be honest. Like, check out the Run Testers, for example. They've done a great video on this watch, for example. Right, so with that out of the way, oh, another spoiler, this watch was sent to me by Garmin, but I'm going to say anything I like, because I always do. Okay, people, so here it is, the Garmin 955 Forerunner. This is the solar version. What does that mean? It means that the sun charges it up and helps battery life, which is awesome. It's got loads of new cool features on it. So let's do the sort of stats and features overview of what's new on this watch and what you get on this watch before we get into what it's been like over the last couple of weeks since I've been using it. Okay, before we get into that, actually, note to you, see this? Sunburn, people. Make sure when you're out running that you do put sun cream on and you do wear a hat. It may seem the most ridiculous thing, and you're going, why is he talking about this in this video? Because it's an important fact, and I just realised that before I start filming this, that my skin is actually peeling now on my forehead and nose, and I want to make a really sensible, for once, an important point to you, to make sure that you do apply sun cream before you go out and run. Okay, people, stats and features. Now I'm going to read this off a piece of paper and probably put some B-roll up while I do this, because there's no way I'm going to remember all of it. So stand by, you ready? Firstly, the price is £550 for the solar version. We've got a Corning and Gorilla Glass DX lens material. We've got a fibre reinforced polymer bezel, quick fit band material, 22mm, that compatible, so that means you can get them on Amazon. It's a silicone strap again. The physical size is 46.5 by 46.5 by 14.4 millimeters. It's got touchscreen, which is awesome. Color display. Display size is 1.3 inches, 33 mil. Display resolution is 260 by 260. We've got the sunlight visible transflective memory in pixeled display type. It weighs 53 grams. Battery life, which is really important, and I'll come on to that, how I'll be getting on with it. Quoted is smartwatch mode up to 15 days, 20 days with solar. GPS mode only without music, up to 42 hours, 49 hours with solar. We've got a water rating of 5 ATM, and we've got a memory of 32 gig. Okay, right, so I've had this watch about 2 weeks, I think, something like that, maybe more, since Garmin sent it through. I've been using it for most of the stuff that I've been doing. I've still got my Phoenix 6 Pro Solar, and just as a comparison in terms of size, the Phoenix is definitely heavier, a bit more chunky. This feels much more traditional, more like a 255, let's say, and it just fits like the 255 nicely onto your wrist, but it definitely feels less of a watch on your wrist than the Phoenix watches do, because they're sort of heavy and chunky, which is actually, I think, better. Now, there's some cool features on here that's been added. I mean, where do you start? So let me go back through the list that we wrote down, because I'm just going to say which ones I really like. Obviously, you've got the multi-band GPS, which is just amazing. I'll come on to that in terms of the stuff I like and why I like it, and the battery. We've got much better HR monitors on this. We've got the training readiness or daily training readiness widget thing that's just amazing. It just gives you sort of, I don't know, more geeky stats that you can really look into about, you know, getting ready for doing bits and bobs. It's the touchscreen's a bit annoying. I'll come on to that. The training modes and all that kind of stuff. The morning reports on here, which you've got on the 255. But there's all these added features that sort of effectively tell you how to train, when to train, and what to train. There's so much on here in terms of, if you switch it all on, and I actually turned some of it off because it became annoying, but all the different training aids and the information you get out of this that it's got on it now is insane. You can really literally live your whole marathon training or half marathon training block through your watch. as I said, you've got like the morning report and the training, the daily training. What was it? I said it called readiness. That was it. You can really basically just analyse where you're at and what you're doing. Like, it's monitoring your sleep, and it's, if you obviously wear it at night time, and it can just give you an overall data picture of where you are in terms of your training and your running, which can be really powerful if you want to use it. Now, I mentioned the multi-band GPS. That does sap a little bit of life out of the battery, just as a heads up, which is why I think the solar version's so much better. So on the battery, that's what I wanted to say. With the multi-band GPS on it, now I run 6 times a week, I'm getting about 9 days before I need to charge it. Okay, so I've done, as I said, I've had it, yeah, it's over 2 weeks, because I charged it on the 9th day, yeah, so I've had it over 2 weeks. But it's about 9 weeks. But I don't know about you, but I get a bit nervous when it gets down to like 12% and I charge it up. But it's been about that in terms of the battery. But as I said, I've had it on multi-band GPS. Now, the multi-band GPS for me just seems just so much more accurate and quicker and more efficient. It's just locking in from all different places, but it's much better. It's a huge improvement, the multi-band GPS, and I would really recommend, if you get a watch like this or another watch that's got it on, you really do use it. Although it whacks the battery life, I would really recommend you doing this. It is an improvement over not having it, and you do notice it on those runs. Now, the other cool thing that I've noticed with this is that the HR monitor, the heart rate monitor, seems to be a lot more accurate than even like my Phoenix watch. The Phoenix watch can be a little bit sensitive, but this, over the last, say, couple of weeks, it just seems to be. Now, I wear a chest strap, or I wear like the Polar as well, depending on what I'm doing. But the data I'm getting off the wrist on this watch, it's not a million miles away, people, which is really impressive from this 955. I'm really digging the heart rate monitor on this. Now, as someone who looks to the heart rate, I wouldn't say I train to heart rate, but I do look at it for like zones and things like that. And I mix it up with, you know, perceived effort and pace. And I kind of train generally, right? But I have to say, the heart rate monitor on this is better than my Phoenix 6. Now, like I said, it's not all great things. I do feel like at 550 quid, I do want something that feels a little bit more expensive. I'm not downplaying how good this watch is, but I don't know. I do like the Phoenix feeling so chunky and muscly and sort of, yeah, it's really expensive. And a touchscreen. You don't need touchscreen on this watch, people. It's an added thing that probably whacks the battery that you just don't need. I'm quite happy just clicking the buttons. Now, this is a multi-sport watch, so you can literally do everything on it, which is awesome. And you can set it up, you can add different activities onto the watch, so it literally will take you through whether you're doing triathlons or I don't know, whatever you want to do, you can do it on this watch. It really does literally cater for everything, which is great news. But that said, you can do that on some of the cheaper versions. Now, for me, I would never bother now with the sort of 755 or whatever it is, the one in the middle. You either go 255, this, or the Phoenix, or the Epix, whatever way you want to go. But think of these watches, right, as sort of SUVs, 4x4s. So you've got the 255, which is like a Kia Sportage. It's awesome, it's well priced, and it literally does everything and a little bit more on it. But it's well priced. And then you've got this, you've got the 955, which is like a BMW X5. Luxury, nice, does loads, probably not going to use everything on it, but you could do if you really wanted to drill into the sort of technical stuff on the dash. And then finally, at the top end, you've got like the Porsche Cayenne or Bentley Bottega, which is the sort of Epix or the Phoenix watches, which, again, do everything, but you're probably never going to use the top speed because you're driving around Essex in 30-mile-an-hour zones, but it's just nice to have. But they are overpriced and all that kind of stuff. But do you see what I mean? That's the sort of grading and the way I'd look at it. So look, to conclude, like I said, this video is not a techie video in any shape or form in terms of text and specs. Check out other great YouTube channels that have got all them on there. But in terms of usability, this thing has been awesome. Loving those couple of bits I said about the little geeky stuff that I kind of get into, but I'm not using half of the stuff on here, and I don't use half the stuff on the Phoenix, which is why for me the 255 is the standout watch. But if you want more than that, and you want the touchscreen and you want, you know, all the other bits that this does offer, this is a great watch. Don't bother, I would say, with the one in the middle, the 745, 755, whatever version they're on. go and grab the 955. It is a great option. It's got an amazing kit on it. But for me personally, and this is just personal, I think the 255 is the sensible option at the price point that it is. But the 955 is great, people. So if you can afford it, and I think that's what it comes down to, then yes, the 955 is a valuable option. But for us everyday runners, I'd still say the 255 is a no-brainer.